morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR and we're back with another video on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, because what else am I going to talk about right after a new game comes out? We've already talked a bit about the NPCs in this game in the last couple of videos. In fact, we fully broke Cynthia and her team down a couple weeks ago, but it got me thinking, just how tough are the Sinnoh Gym Leaders relevant to each other? Now, clearly you would think, okay, well, Rourke is the easiest and Volkner is the hardest, and the difficulty just ramps up as the game progresses, but that's not entirely the case. So let's see just what movesets, items, and strategies each gym leader is equipped with to rank them from worst to best. And for clarity's sake, these are the initial gym battle fights, not the rematches. Let's get into it. Starting off with Sinnoh's weakest gym leader, Rourke. Hey, I said it might not entirely be the case. Now, here's the thing, as far as first gym leaders go, I think Rourke is actually a cut above most. I mean, his ace Pokemon literally has a 125 base attack. What other first gym leader would ever smash your Pokemon's skull in like that? The issue is less with Rourke's team and more with how good the player's options are. Regardless of which starter you choose, it's likely going to be an easy fight, since Turtwig and Piplup completely obliterate his team. Even Chimchar, the Pokemon you'd think would struggle against Rourke, should have no problem here, since it was purposely designed to evolve at level 14. And upon doing that, you get access to this magical win button called Mach Punch. And that's completely ignoring the fact that Chimchar already gets Power Up Punch at level 12. Yeah, while Piplup and Turtwig are easy mode, Chimchar is just easy mode in disguise. Ironically, I actually think this gym is easiest if you pick him. They do add Bulldoze to Cranidos' moveset though, which can be quite scary for any Pokemon not named Monferno, since it lowers your speed, making it easier for Cranidos to repeatedly make you flinch with its headbutt attack. That 30% chance of you flinching is probably the only chance you have of losing though, unless you are just grossly unprepared. Sinnoh's second weakest gym leader in my opinion has to be Candace. As in, Candace Day get any better? To be fair, Candace actually brings a bit of strategy to the table with her team as she leads with a Snover holding Icy Rock, which will extend the effect of its Snow Warning ability. The issue with this approach is that she's unlikely to send in Abomasnow until the end of the fight, which is the only Pokemon on her team that benefits from the Hail, with it knowing Aurora Veil and Blizzard. Stellar moves for sure, but that's assuming that Abomasnow even gets to attack you in the first place. It's a rather slow Pokemon that isn't nearly as bulky as you think it would be, with one of the worst defensive type combinations in the entire game. If Abomasnow is meant to be a tank, then he's one that's leaking a trail of gasoline. Just set that sucker on fire. Plus, with it coming out so late, there's a good chance that the Hail has already disappeared from the battlefield. In the rematch, they actually fixed this by making her send out Abomasnow first, but hey, let's stay on topic here. Her Sneasel isn't very threatening without using Hone Claws first, with its other moves being Dig, Metal Claw, and Avalanche. I get that Avalanche is the specialty move of this gym, but it just doesn't work on Sneasel. Sneasel is a Pokemon that's designed to be a frail glass cannon, so making its most powerful move a decreased priority attack just doesn't mesh well with its archetype. It's like putting peanut butter on a hamburger. Something clearly went wrong here. Realistically, her only threatening Pokemon is Medicham, ironically enough. With Pure Power, an Expert Belt, and an extremely varied moveset that's designed to take down Pokemon that counter Ice types like Rock, Steel, and Fire, it actually fills its role quite nicely. But once again, Medicham is just too slow to deal with its own threats, like the extremely common Staraptor or other Pokemon like Honchkrow and Togekiss. The strategy is definitely there for Candace, but she simply lacks good Pokemon that are able to take hits. The third weakest gym leader is Crasher Wake. It's actually possible to fight Crasher Wake as the third gym leader since Pastoria City's western entrance isn't blocked off in these games, but assuming you went through Salacion Town and Veilstone City as the game intends, then Crasher Wake is simply far too underleveled by the time you get there. I wish there was some sort of level scaling mechanic to make up for this, but alas, maybe in Gen 22. Similar to Candace, one of Wake's major problems is having to rely on Brine as his signature move when he could easily just use the infinitely better Scald, something that only his Quagsire carries. Because hey, gotta show off the new Gen 4 move, even though it hasn't been new for 15 years. In addition, Floatzel's ability to make a comeback relies entirely on Quagsire setting Rain Dance up, but with Sinnoh offering a great variety of outstanding grass types, it's unlikely that Quagsire will live to use it. If Wake relied on Gyarados as his Rain Setter instead, I think this team would have a higher rate of success. Granted, if he does manage to catch you off guard, the Floatzel can become very scary. But even then, his low-level team still works against him more than any other Sinnoh Gym Leader. And rounding out the bottom half of our list is Gardenia. Her roster Pokemon is actually quite solid, but her coverage is very lacking. as Cherubi's Dazzling Gleam and Roserade's Poison Sting are her only non-grass type damage dealing moves. If you walk into this gym with a Staravia, you're gonna win. What's wild to me is that they gave Roserade Petal Blizzard a base 90 power move. That is crazy for only the second gym, and will probably decimate anything that doesn't resist grass. But then they turn around and make its only coverage move a base 15 power Poison Sting. They could have given it, well, actually, no, they couldn't have given it anything else. Well, if they wanted to dabble in TMs, I think an unboosted Venoshock could have worked just fine. It's more suitable for this point in the game than both Poison Sting and Petal Blizzard, if you ask me. But yeah, Roserade alone can be quite formidable, even without help from its allies, which is what makes me put Gardenia above Wake. She can at least function if her strategy doesn't work out. Kicking off the upper half of the list is the Steel-type gym leader, Byron, who is also Rourke's father. On paper, the team does not look all that impressive, but in action, it actually has quite a few tricks up its sleeve. First is Bronzor's ability to set up Trick Room early in the battle, and on top of that, both Bronzor and Steelix are capable of setting up Sandstorm, making Bastiodon, the final Pokemon, both extremely fast and very specially defensive. Because Sandstorm raises the special defensive rock types by 50%. If you didn't know that, I don't blame you, because even I didn't know that until like Gen 7. It's not a very talked about thing. What keeps Byron out of the top 3 though is his Bastiodon's moveset. Once he's all through his Stone Edges, he can only attack with Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon, which, given Bastiodon's low special attack, should be hitting you with all the force of a newborn baby fleeing a plastic toy. After looking at Bastiodon's moveset, I was actually quite surprised at how he doesn't get Iron Head until level 58, so the only alternative option would be Iron Tail, and I could have sworn he learned Thunderfang, but apparently he's never been able to. So it's either the Mandela effect messing with my head, or maybe this Pokemon's just always been trash. Probably the latter. But hey, at least he has Stone Edge in Trick Room, which alone is pretty cool. I'll give him points just for style. Finally, we've reached the top 3, which I must say are a significant jump above the rest of the gym leaders in my opinion. Our first entry on the podium is Fantina, who sports probably the most consistent group of Pokemon. Between Drifblim, Gengar, and Mismagius, there are no duds to be found here. Drifblim is a solid lead that can cripple many of your Pokemon if you're not careful between Will-O-Wisp and Strength Sap. On top of that, it can deal out good damage with Hex and Fly. It also holds a Zoom Lens, so Will-O-Wisp and Fly are more likely to hit their marks. Next up is Gengar, a scary Pokemon to see on any gym leader's team. And finally, Mismagius, an almost equally scary Pokemon. While their stats and coverage are good, I am a little disappointed that neither of them carry Shadow Ball. Instead, Gengar has Shadow Claw, and Mismagius has Phantom Force, which utilize their considerably lower physical attack stats. Yep, Fantina is part of that gotta use the new Gen 4 move club, because otherwise you'd have to be clinically insane to run Shadow Claw on a Gengar. I would say it's arguable that Mismagius is actually nerfed here compared to its appearance in the original Diamond and Pearl, but at least the other two pick up the slack a bit. And plus, Gengar and Mismagius do both carry Dazzling Gleam here to cover Weakness to Dark, so there's that too. Now, it was really tough deciding who the strongest among the top 2 was, but ultimately I have to put Maylene in second. Maylene is absurdly strong for being only the 3rd gym leader, or at least intended 3rd gym leader. Remember, she could be 4th. She leads with a Meta-Type with the moveset Bulk Up, Flash, Light Screen, and Drain Punch, and is holding a Light Clay to extend the effect of the screen, which should make it considerably harder for Psychic and Fairy types to get anything going. Machoke is her second Pokemon, carrying Low Sweep as a stab move, Knock Off for Psychic coverage, Rock Tomb for flying coverage, and Bulldoze, which is an always useful speed debuffing attack. And finally, Lucario with Metal Claw, Screech, Bulk Up, and Drain Punch. It also holds a Big Root to maximize the HP it recovers from Drain Punch. This Lucario is extremely dangerous, especially once it gets a Bulk Up buff. Drain Punch is also far more powerful now than it originally was in Gen 4, now being a base 75 power attack instead of 60. My only criticism here is that they dropped Bone Rush for Screech, which means Monferno users, come on through, this gym is yours. It also makes it far easier for you to paralyze Lucario using a Luxray or other Electric type, which should take away any momentum she had. Screech just seems really unnecessary here, seeing as how Bulk Up is just the strictly superior option. Regardless, if you don't have a Fire type or Ground type ready, this can easily be one of the hardest fights in the game. The Lucario plot armor is strong with this one. Which of course leaves Volkner as Sinnoh's strongest gym leader. Go figure. Like many of the other Sinnoh Gym Leaders, Volkner's lead Pokemon Raichu is designed to just get you off to a bad start. Nuzzle is a fantastic option to start the match with, and from then on it can choose to keep on fighting with Charge Beam and Surf, of all things, which I find hilarious. Apparently he just learns that by TM now. Or he can opt for Volt Switch for a quick switch into either Ambipom or Octillery. Ambipom is surprisingly competent with Technician boosted Fake Out and Double Hit, but then he runs into the same problem as Byron's Bastiodon. Its moveset simply isn't that good, and they have to run an electric move, so it's stuck with Thunderbolt. But Last Resort is a good move to make up for it, though admittedly a very situational one. Octillery is probably the weakest link of the team, but still not awful by any means. It now has Focus Energy added to its moveset to complement its ability Sniper, which powers up critical hits. Octazooka, Aurora Beam, and Charge Beam round out its moveset, which gives it decent coverage, until you realize this Pokemon just could have Scald and Ice Beam instead. Has nobody in this region heard of TMs? But still, Octillery fits nicely into the team as a counter for ground types. And of course, Volkner's ace is Luxray, who carries Thunderfang, Crunch, Iron Tail, and Ice Fang for those dirty ground types. But really, it's not so much the moves that make Luxray scary as much as it is the EVs. Luxray is almost fully trained in speed and attack, so even though Luxray is not typically thought of as a super fast Pokemon, Volkner's is a cut above the rest. Not to mention, it's also jolly natured just to make sure it's getting all the speed possible. Even if it comes at the expense of Sinnoh's terrible regional decks, Volkner definitely has one of the most well-rounded teams of any gym leader. And so that's my ranking for the 8 gym leaders of Sinnoh. Of course, I'm sure everyone had different experiences. If you walked into Volkner's gym with a Garchomp, you probably thought he was really easy. But also, you probably thought the entire game was easy, which is why I mostly took the builds of their teams into consideration more so than the options available to the player, because realistically, you can build your team however you want. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. I'll see you guys next time.